Hello and welcome to round 19 of Formula 1 Mexico with my team Rich Energy F1. I found out I had a powertrain reset. I have literally gone ahead and ordered them parts to be renewed. I've also put an ECU on, and I've also put that's the same one I've put on. On aero I put that structure on. Front wing I've got barge boards and front wing adjustment brackets, and on R&D I did the control electronic and the MGUH. So hopefully by the time the end of the season comes round I can put the MGUK on to reliability. Yeah, it's a dry race this time. We had a wet qualifying, so let's see how we get on today in pole position on a dry race.
Here we go then. It's time to race in Mexico City, a place which gave Honda their first ever victory back in 1965. American Richie Ginther won from third on the grid. And what are the Honda-powered cars this year? Well, Red Bull have been going strong here in recent seasons, so can they keep that record going today? We're a long way above sea level here in Mexico today, which could pose some cooling issues for the cars as they make their way around this 2.6-mile lap. 17 corners with top speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour, and watch out for potential overtaking into turns 1 and 4. And I'm joined once again by Anthony Davidson to bring you the lowdown for today's race. Let's talk about Lee. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
It's been a really solid year so far. There have been some incredible standout performances, but what's really impressed me has been the consistency. With this kind of form, I'm expecting another great race today.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Lee lines up on pole position, and Lando Norris lines up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Leclerc, Valtteri Bottas, and Verstappen, Giovinazzi, Vettel, Perez, and Carlos Sainz, Raikkonen, Russell, Pierre Gasly, they've taken a grid penalty, and Latifi, Fernando Alonso, Alesi, Esteban Ocon, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty, and Yuki Tsunoda. Stroll, they've taken a grid penalty, Mick Schumacher, Mazepin, and Daniel Ricciardo fills the last spot on the grid. That's it then, it's time to go racing, as we head to trackside for today's race.
Right, I'll start the formation lap in a second. Right, let's rock and roll then. I have a little bit of engine wear here and there, but nothing too major. 19, so we're looking at about lap what? So they're saying, what's that? The same lap 8. I don't know. That's supposed to be set to 17. There we go. See, I could do 10 laps. See, I could. See, saying that tyre wear there is perfect, but see, we're seconds slower. If we go in a lap earlier, we're a second slower on the lap. See, I don't know. I'll play it by ear. It depends how. Depends if there's any safety cars out there or any good stuff that needs to be done. BSCs or...
Everything looks good on the power unit cycle, so let's concentrate on bringing tyres and brakes up to temperature. Say that again, we're having trouble receiving.
Engineer, quiet.
Okay, copy that.
Right, I'm not going to now be distracted by Jeff again. Right, like I was going to say. Yeah, depending on if there's any safety cars or virtual safety cars, depends how this tyre stint's going to go on the first stint. Also, Fernando Alonso in Sunday's Grand Prix Qatar. What a drive by him. It was superb. Talk about superb. Bottas with his puncher blames Mercedes and Toto Wolff. Now, if it was me, I would have pitted earlier, at least a lap earlier, and I would have ignored team orders if that was the case. I only saw the highlights on YouTube, so I don't know the full story of Bottas and his mega issue. But the talking factor is Fernando Alonso, third. One of the best races I've seen him have all season. He drove like he did 10 years ago when he first joined the sport. No, 20 years ago when he first joined the sport. 10 years ago when he was winning titles and winning races. Yeah, he won his first race in 2005, so 16 years ago. But yeah, you can't grumble at that. But he just looked so fluent. So yeah, that's really amazing. But I've got another talking point in a second when the race starts. I'm just waiting for the lights to go. Now I'm going to talk about the sacking of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I briefly talked about it, I think it was in yesterday's Formula 1 or yesterday's Minecraft video, about Zinedine Zidane not wanting the job. Well, they're talking to Brendan Rodgers, the Leicester manager. They might pay Leicester £8 million for compensation to have Brendan Rodgers at Man U. Now, for me, Brendan Rodgers has managed Liverpool, and Liverpool and Man United have got a very, very good rivalry going back all the way to about the 80s. Now, if Brendan Rodgers goes to Man U, it will be a very big kick in the teeth for the Liverpool fans that like him, because I think that would be the most traitorous. I'll say traitorous as a word, because it is. You'd be a traitor to go to a rival team, a bit like how Wayne Rooney did in 2005. He said he was Everton through and through, born and bred Everton. Played for him as a youth lad. Said it was a team who'd never leave. Man United came knocking a year later, and he turned around and said, "Oh yeah, Man United was my team that I liked as a childhood dream." He said the same drabble basically as he did at Everton. But if Brendan Rodgers goes to Man U, I can see a lot of hooliganism going into that match for next season, when or next year when the second part of the season carries on. Man U and Liverpool, Brendan Rodgers at the helm. After the match, I can just see violence. I really can. What they want to do, they want to get Steve Bruce. Man United need to get Steve Bruce, because Bruce has been up and down the leagues. Not say up and down the leagues, he's only been Championship and Premier League. But he's never been with a team that has money. And now Newcastle, right, yeah, had a financial takeover, but sacked Brucey, so he could not use that money. Give Steve Bruce money, and he'll buy the right players for the right price. He'll know what to do. And I can see Brucey probably taking the helm. Even though there's talks about Roy Keane as just a passing name in the wind. But I'll say Steve Bruce as Man United manager. Give him a 3-year deal. Give him a checkbook. And let him pay for the players that he wants to get. And I'll tell you now, Brucey will be amazing. He played for Man U in defence in the early 90s. I think he was there in the late 80s as well. And Steve Bruce was a solid defender. Captain as well he was for Man U. Steve Bruce. He learnt from Fergie as well. Yeah, Sir Alex has taught Steve Bruce a lot of stuff. And a lot of people don't realise that. And that's why Steve Bruce has always had a couple of years in a team. But if you starve a manager with money, and literally you'll get nowhere. And I'll now talk again about Walsall, my local team, about starving up money. Jeff Bonza, former chairman, always tight with his money. But in 2003, Walsall get promoted to the Championship for the first time in their history. We have Paul Merson as player manager. Bonza gives him a checkbook and pen. Says, buy whoever you want. We're in the Championship. We'll be there for seasons. They were only in there for 2 seasons. They got promoted, stayed up, went straight back down. But Merson spent ridiculous money on the wrong players. And of course, when Walsall got relegated and they sacked Paul Merson as player manager and manager, because he retired as a player, came full board manager as Walsall. Paul Merson gets sacked. TV pundit. Knows a thing or two about football. Played for Arsenal.
Some information on Ocon. It looks like the problem is terminal. They're retiring the car.
Yeah, he played for Arsenal. Played for Villa. Played for Walsall. Now, I like Merson as a player. Don't rate him as a manager. But when we went through manager after manager after manager, Bonza turns around and says you sell players to get the money in, and whatever you get for the players we'll put towards the kitty, and you can buy the players the next season, whoever the manager was at the time. Now, we've had that now for the last 14 years prior to, 14 years roughly. And of course Walsall then get relegated from League 1, going to League 2. 2007, 2008, we have Dean Smith, manager that was really good, knew how to work with hardly any money, built Walsall up. We get promoted to League 1. We get relegated to League 2. We get back promoted with Smithy at the helm. Smithy stays with us in League 1 for a couple more years. Brentford lose the manager around about 2000 and I'm trying to think. Around about 2016, he goes to Brentford. Because it also was in League 1. He went for Brentford in the Championship. We have John Whitney, a physiotherapist, as a manager. At the end of every game, all he ever said was on the radio is we'll learn from our mistakes. He didn't last long after the one match against Shrewsbury, because that was the final nail in the coffin. We lost to a rival team, Shrewsbury, my team. And he gets sacked in League 1. We then go and get Dean Keats. Now, Keats played for Walsall in the 1999, 2000, 2001, 2002 seasons. Dean Keats, good little player. Average manager. He was at Wrexham, the team that Ryan Reynolds and the other American actor own. He leaves Wrexham halfway through that season, even though Wrexham was in the playoffs. He leaves to join Walsall. Walsall get relegated from League One back into League Two. We have Keats for another whole season. Keatsy gets sacked. Poor results. Keatsy goes back to Wrexham. Lasted until a year, just over a year ago. He gets sacked from Wrexham because they make the playoffs. And Ryan Reynolds and the other guys turn around and says we need new management. So Keatsy's out of a job. Then we have Darrell Clarke. Now Darrell Clarke, again, just like Smithy, knows how to run a team with no money. During this time, Jeff Bonza sells the club to Lee Pomley, the new chairman. Don't know how much for, but Pomley turns around and says, we've got money, we can do whatever. So Pomley turns around and says, right, we've got a bigger budget than Morecambe. Now last year Morecambe got promoted to League One. We were still in the relegation battle, probably going into the conference. Now, late last year, around about last January, we sold Zach Jules, the left back, and Adebayo, the striker. Adebayo has found his feet at Walsall, became top goal scorer, sold him to Luton. Zach Jules went to MK Dons. And Clarkey turned around and says, well, I'm going to leave because you just sold my two best players. And if we've got a budget bigger than Morecambe, we should not be selling players when the pandemic is quite bad. But give Pomley his due. He turned around and says, I'm not going to lend any money off the FA or FIFA because I've got to pay that money back. So he made, with the board of directors, a lot of sacrifices to keep the team afloat. Now, like I say, I've got to give him some due, give him some respect for that. And then Clarkey leaves. We have Brian Dutton, a trainee manager. His former job was stacking shelves at Asda, becomes manager of Walsall. Brilliant. Pomley turns around and says we'll give Brian Dutton 3 years, a 3-year deal, and we'll see how we go. Well, at the end of the season, last season, Walsall was still in the relegation battle. Survived it by a couple of points. June, July time came. Brian Dutton's been sacked. Been sacked as manager. He's got pastures now, and he just didn't feel right. He was the right manager for the job. But why offer him a 3-year deal before giving him the contract? Say you have you for 3 years. Why don't they turn around and say you have it till the end of the season? You know what I mean? It would have been beneficial for Dutton to do that, but no, instead he loses his job. And now we've got this guy in called Matt Taylor. Don't know much about him, well, apart from I know he's a footballer in the lower leagues throughout some of his career. And okay, fair play. We have him. A lot of Walsall players left at the end of last season on free contracts because they want to renew with Walsall, which is understandable. But we are still in the relegation battle. Because League 2 this season has become very, very close. Literally 6 points from top to bottom. That's it, 2 wins and you're up and down the table. That's how close it's been. Loving it. Think it's fantastic for the neutrals. But I went to the football, like I say.
Giuliano is coming in for his stop.
I went to the football on Saturday. We had a 0-0 draw against Rochdale. And all we did to a 5'10" striker versus 6-foot defenders, hoof the ball into the air and play the long ball. Now, we played that with John Whitney. We played that with Darrell Clarke. We did that with Dean Keats. It doesn't work for Walsall. And we have got players who can play the ball along the feet. Tiki-taki football, a bit like Barcelona, play two up front. We play a lone striker, 3 defenders, 2 defending midfielders and 4 at the back. Warsaw's formation is 2 up front and we get goals. Now, like I say, I am not a true Warsaw supporter, but I know the ins and outs of Warsaw. But it annoys me when teams turn around and say, oh yeah, we got this, we have that, and we got money, and yet all we can do is buy, well, we can loan in 5 players. Now the 5 players that Warsaw have loaned in will be going back in January to their parent clubs. And Warsaw will be in Queer Street again. Because they've got to find 5 other players now to fill them slots. I'll say this, Warsaw will get relegated. They'll be in the conference, the non-league. And they'll be there like Newport County, who went down a couple of seasons ago. And they'll stay down. Because they won't have the players to play for the team. Now, I could talk about people like Gareth Barry, Jack Grealish, Fabian Delph, the players who played for Liverpool, and then they get brought by Man City. And Villa literally struggled when selling a load of players to cover the wage bill and to cover issues with the club financially. And Villa will always have the same issue. Even now they've got an Egyptian billionaire. If he puts his hand in his pocket January and gives Gerrard the money, Villa will stay safe. Same with Newcastle. Newcastle put their hands in their pocket and pay these players that will benefit the team and be beneficial for the league. I can see them 2 teams staying up. But teams like Warsaw, who haven't got the millions and billions of pounds in the kitty, you know, and working on literally probably about 3 million a season. 3 million ain't a lot really for a football team. Because they don't tell you how much money's in the wage budget and the the transfer budget, because I have to look at FIFA, which is a rough estimate on a daily basis, because I think if this team's got that much and this team's got that much, how can, you know, you got 11 players on the pitch, how can they be struggling? And it frustrates the hell out of me. Oh, pardon me, but yeah, it is just ridiculous. If I could be a manager, I'd play the diamond formation like Man United did in 1999, the 4-1-2-1-2, and I'll play the Barcelona style of football, tiki-taki football, and I'd have 2 strikers up front every time. And if you've got a striker injured and you've got to change your formation slightly, what I'd do then is I'd play 5 at the back, 3 midfield and 2 up front. And if a striker ain't as good as the other striker that's been injured, but it can do wonders, you play a defensive game until that striker's back to full fitness. Because that's what I would do if I was a manager, because I see how Fergie did his Man United team, because I did follow Man U for many years before turning my back on Man U and going to Shrewsbury, because all I got really was from people is, oh, you're a glory hunter because you support Man U. No, I supported Man U back in 1995. Prior to that, I was an Aston Villa fan. But I loved Dean Saunders as a striker. He was my favourite player. Dean Saunders gets sold. And I ain't going to support a team that's just got rid of one of my favourite players when Cantona and Peter Schmeichel were still playing at Man U. I jumped ship to Man U. And I stayed with Man U till 2012. And then I went to Shrewsbury and followed Shrewsbury. Because they're a little town. And they've got a decent team. And like I say, Shrewsbury to me is a nice town, a little bit better than Walsall town. But that's because there's different councils. But at the end of the day, that's going to happen. And it's worth it. Put me on, mate, Andrew. He is a die-hard Man United fan. Same with my mate Colin. Both of them are die-hard United fans. Red through and through. And they still support Man U even though they've been up and down. And they're still, you know, in Man U at the moment are in a down patch. But it just proves that they ain't glory hunters. But I went to Shrewsbury because Walsall was their rival team. And like I say, my dad and my brother are Walsall fans. And I thought, you know what? If I'm supporting a Premier League team, right, yeah. There's no rivalry in the family. So I would jump ship to Shrewsbury, like I say. And it's quite funny because people turn around and say, what team do you support? And I say Shrewsbury Town. And they're like, who are they? And I say they're a League 1, League 2 side. Because by the looks of it, by the end of the season, Shrewsbury might be back in League 2. Meaning they'll be in the same league as Walsall, which means I can get to home and away games. So it's really fantastic in my eyes. But no matter what people, like I say, what people say and do, whatever football team you want to support, you support them. It's like when you follow a Formula 1 driver, you support that driver because he's your favourite driver. Like I say, Jacques Villeneuve, runner-up in 96 in his first season, won it in 97. Yeah, he never won it after that. And yet I love Jacques Villeneuve because he was a true driver. And when he joined BAR, which is British American Racing, in 1999, I followed him with that team. And I stayed with BAR until they turned to Honda in 2005. And I stayed with them until they changed to Braun when Jenson Button won the Drivers' Championship. Like I say, Mercedes ain't a bad team. They worked their way up, but for me, there's no what you call it. There's been not very many good races over the last couple of seasons where I could say, yeah, man, Formula 1's been really good. It's always been dominated by one driver or one team, and this is the year that has been really spicy for the championship between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. And I will admit that this season has been really, really good. And whoever says it's a good season needs their head looked at. But yeah, it's just weird how people see things. Like I say, I would love to see Max winning with Red Bull, because that would be the icing on the cake. You know, he came into Toro Rosso, AlphaTauri, as a young 18-year-old. He gets switched seats to Red Bull, the main team, and he's dominated with them. Every season, got them double points. Every season, he's got double points to his name. This year, he's got treble points, which is superb. and I got a fuel save for this lap. But yeah, but no matter what happens in sports, people have their own, you know, they have their own people that they like to follow and who they want to champion for and who they want to support, and that's what makes the world so great, because it's diversity. But for me, the cars should have the same chassis, pardon me, and have two engine suppliers like the Super Formula. Because Super Formula, like I've said in the past couple of videos, they're the same car, same chassis like there is in Formula 2, but there's two engine suppliers, Honda or Toyota. Now imagine if Formula 1 had that, two engine suppliers only, same Mercedes and Ferrari. It'd be a spicy season. It would be amazing to see. But yeah, let me have your thoughts in the comment section below. If Formula 1 should have two engine suppliers only, and it make the pack really good, and fair play to Pierre Gasly for driver of the day. But yeah,
That's a spectacular victory then, and with it, the championship is secure. It's been a magnificent season, and they thoroughly deserve the cheers of the crowd here today. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
Here comes your top three making their way down to the podium for what can only be described as a fantastic day for Formula One. So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
Well, you've put me in a bit of a tight spot today, but I think I'll go for Pierre Gasly. He kept a cool head under pressure and made the most of some difficult circumstances.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Meanwhile, good work from Aston Martin this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
So that was an exciting race from our perspective. Let's have yours.
Who would you say is your biggest rival at the moment?
You really... Did you feel...
What could have gone?
Appreciate your time.
the renewals. Let's renew them. Let's do that promotion. Alright, let's do, yeah, let's do that. I'm going to leave that one blank for now. Let's have... Let's have Polo on there. Alright, and I have to have one on there for now. I wish the 11 sponsors were sponsors like there are on online mode. That you could have 11 different sponsors on your car. Because that would be superb, and I would enjoy that quite a lot. I was hoping that would have happened in this year's game. Like last year's game, it's very tedious just to have so many sponsor slots, but only have 5 sponsors in total. It's not good really for the game, because if you look at certain cars up and down the grid, they've got more than 11 sponsors on.
Okay, we've had the new parts come through the fabrication process. We'll have them with us for the next Grand Prix.
Anywho, I'm going to leave this video here. I'm going to say thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, hit that bell for notifications, as I do post daily content. And like I say, any comments, any suggestions in the comments and talk about today's topic, feel free to drop them in below, because I tell you what, it's always good to have a great conversation about football, Formula 1, all sports in general. And until the next one, I will see you all later. Bye.